Welcome to Red Eye. Hello, everyone. I am Tom Shalhoub. Let's check in with TV's Andy Levy at the Red Eye Tease Deck. Andy?
Thanks, Tom. Coming up on the big show, a court rules that the magnetic toys known as buckyballs are legal once more. Good news for me, bad news for the guy who sold me eighths of Bucky Bees in the alley every Tuesday. Plus, a video called This Panda is Dancing that has no pandas and no dancing. I haven't been this disappointed since I went to a bare naked ladies concert. And finally, Robert Wagner stops by and he and Tom have a heart-to-heart. A special shout out to our viewers over 50 who are the only ones who will get that joke. Back to you, Tom.
I think they get the joke, Andy. Thank you. Let's welcome our guests. She's gorgeous. Everyone has to be nice to her. Her bleeding heart's been broken since November 8th. Democratic strategist Jessica Tarlov. He's loopier than a Blue Angels air show. Comedian Nick Mullen. He's made more money from harassing phone calls than the guys who kidnapped Frank Sinatra Jr. Comedian Jim Florentine, whose new comedy special, A Simple Man, is out December 9th. And like a sardine, he's salty and often canned. Sitting right next to me, host of the Gavin McInnes Show on Compound Media, Gavin McInnes. Okay, let's start the show. I have some great news for fans of Buckyballs. The popular desktop toys are legal again after winning a court case against federal regulators. In 2012, the Obama administration's Consumer Product Safety Commission, or CPSC, waged war on the company after toddlers started swallowing the magnets and going to the emergency room, ER, despite clear warnings about risk to children and pets. The company, which was making millions, fought back, running ads in various publications, including an open letter to President Obama in the Washington Post. CEO Craig Zucker felt the CPSC wanted to ban anything that poses risk, telling Esquire the CPSC's argument is that warnings don't work. If that's the case, then we need to think of all the current products on the market that are intended for adults that come with warning labels: laundry detergent pods, adult-size ATVs, balloons. But federal regulations prevailed and Buckyballs were banned. Now, 4 years later, after a victory in court, they're back, but with a new name, Balls by Bucky. So, Gavin, what do you think of these things? These are a great item. I was following this case. What do you?
Well, it just sounds like America finally has the courage to give us our novelty toy back.
I see. It's true. Jessica,
it kind of writes itself.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Jessica, the Buckyballs, do you think they are dangerous to children, but shouldn't adults be able to keep Buckyballs on their desk?
I guess so. I had no idea what these were.
You never heard of Buckyballs?
No.
I think everyone else on our panel has.
No, Nick hasn't either.
No Buckyballs.
I've been doing stand-up for over 2 decades. I don't have a desk, so I don't play with anything on my desk.
That's right.
I write jokes in my car in a bar when I'm drunk.
You know what? Some people like these for the dashboard of their vehicle. Buckyballs.
No.
What's
I have
the
lozenges, and when I drive drunk, I can cover it up.
Okay, so what kind of a lozenges cover it up?
The red ones, the cherries. Yeah, my friend's a lawyer, says use these, pop right away as soon as you get
As you go to law school, you come out, you're like, use the red ones. Cherry, they can't smell.
Don't tell anyone I told you that. It's a secret.
But Gavin,
yes.
I guess in most cases you're against regulation, but you also have children. So where would you stand on the Buckyballs controversy?
Jokes, puns aside.
Yes.
You know what the danger is with magnets, right? If you swallow one, it goes in your intestines. Then you swallow the other one, and when they meet, going through all the paths, they get stuck together, and now nothing can get down, and you can't eat, and we got to operate on you. That's why pets can't have them.
And kids, same thing.
Yes.
It's true. The
Right.
kids were having serious gastrointestinal problems.
They might, right? But it's a very infinitesimally small chance you're going to end up there. So no, the government doesn't regulate that. We'll handle our magnet buying, thank you, and thank you for liberating us and allowing us to have something else. So much of the government planning and all this liberal ethos is based on these really, really tiny chances, these hypotheticals, and we all
But if
live
we
in
can save
perpetual
people
fear.
from the tiny chance that your kid gets 3 Buckyballs stuck in their intestinal system and can't go to the bathroom or get them out.
Okay, well, what do you say to this, Jessica?
So if we could just save one life,
What if it's a baby McInnes?
Yes, let's bring my children into it, make me irrational. So now I agree. You know what your argument
That's what
sucks?
liberals do, and we win.
They make you maniacal because they say,
presidencies.
what if your daughter was murdered? And all of a sudden you're going, oh, okay,
I know.
make the magnets go away.
Well, I think I got to go to Nick.
Well, I don't know. I guess I would be anti-regulation in most cases, but he didn't invent anything. These are just magnets.
They're magnets, yeah.
He didn't invent magnets.
But he produced them, and he had a whole warehouse full of them.
I don't care. I don't know. And what is? How have you been folling this legal battle this entire time?
Because several years ago.
This is like the legalized weed movement for people.
These were hot sellers.
Yeah.
And people loved. They would while
How many
away
of
the
these
hours.
do you
For hot sellers for how long? Like a week, like Pokemon for like a week?
He's got 9
everybody
of
was
them
on.
in his small intestine.
Tom, I got to be honest, I've never heard of them either.
You never did?
No, maybe it's a
Had
Canadian
you
thing.
really, or
I
your
have.
writers told you
Listen,
about them
when
today?
they were banned, I thought it was a great injustice because the company they were making big money. And it was a fad, but they were making money hand over fist, and all of a sudden they came in and said, you know, you got to take it. They were in every toy store in America. So I think, you know, their
Why can't he
injustice
sell
is
them? Because it's a danger to everything's a danger.
Well, he
to
can
kids.
now.
What do you
yes,
think of the
everything is a danger.
He made a great argument, Jim, that you know you'd have to ban everything, including those detergent pots, which kids are eating like candy now.
Yeah, I mean, look, a kid could put anything in his mouth, but if he's putting 3 magnets in a row in his mouth, there's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
You know, after one, you got to go.
No,
That
that's
probably
true,
wasn't a good
though.
idea.
Especially with a
and then you
baby.
swallow it down with 2 more, then you know what? You're on your own.
I just
totally
think
true.
they should have to wait until they're 18 before they're allowed to swallow a bunch of magnets and kill themselves.
Exactly. Okay, let it forget the regulations. Moving on. Some of the Democratic Party's biggest donors feel like they just set their money on fire, and I don't think they really did. I think they were talking about Hillary Clinton's election, and I don't think they really did. I think they were talking about Hillary Clinton's election loss. One top fundraiser for Hillary told the Hill website that he and others are shell-shocked and don't feel inclined to help the Dems going forward. And another big Clinton donor from Florida says from now on he's giving his money to charities instead. Many donors are also still reeling from their names being released by the WikiLeaks DNC email hack, says one DNC official. They're tired, they're upset about the election, and there was significant trauma surrounding the Russians. They're upset and they're tired. We spoke with top Democratic donor Lily von Stupp.
I'm tired of playing the game. Ain't it a crying shame?
Jessica, you know Lily von Stupp, right?
Totally. She's going to be the new DNC chair.
Do you think, were you, by the way,
Did I max out to Hillary?
Was your name on any of these hacked emails?
Yes, but not in a bad way. It was just a few of them where there were transcripts of Fox segments,
Yes.
like what people were saying.
Okay.
And so, I mean, obviously I was glowing about my gal.
Yes.
But it was interesting because the reason that I thought that they were tracking this stuff is to kind of take the temperature of Hillary supporters about certain things, because I wasn't a surrogate. So there were times where I said, you know, this is just crap,
Yes.
right? This shouldn't be
You
going
didn't
on.
have to toe the line.
There was no line towing. So I think that's why they were following some of these segments, but I think it was just 3 or 4 times. I mean, it was not a major feature. I didn't spirit cook or anything. So.
Yes, I see. Gavin, obviously they're hurting. The donors, they feel like their money was wasted. Was it wasted?
Isn't that proof, though, that you can buy votes, you can buy influence, and the White House was up for sale? If you're mad that you didn't get your way and it wasn't, they're admitting it wasn't gambling, and they're admitting that they paid money for something they didn't get, and they're mad. If you're mad, that's not gambling, that's buying.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, shouldn't they get? I mean, they paid so much money, these donors. Of course, they feel like they're entitled to something.
Well, that's not the deal in democracy. And I think everyone should be turned off from all donations to political campaigns, because we're seeing she raised, what, $1.3 billion. She's spending she went up 84% in the last week, spent like $30 million on TV ads. And as Ann Coulter points out, TV ads don't work. All these political experts don't work. All that money, the whole infrastructure is done now.
Done. That's what I think. Florentine, I think that the money, it's all over. But they're gonna try to keep doing this. Do you think it's time to overhaul the whole? I'm not talking about campaign finance reform. I'm just talking about don't take ads out anymore. It's a waste of money.
It is. It just annoys people in the middle of a football game, seeing a bunch of sad kids going, oh, Donald Trump said this. What am I going to say to my kids? Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe he said they're gonna cry the next day in school. So it's stupid and it doesn't work. And look, of course they're going to be pissed. That's like, I gamble a lot on football. So if someone goes, look, put $5,000 on Denver. It's my lock of the year, and I put $5,000 on it, and I lose. It's a lock, just like Hillary was supposed to be a lock with these people. And then a week later, he goes, put $3,000 on the Jets. It's another lock. I'm like, no, I'm not listening to you. I got a hangover, and plus, who puts money in the Jets anyway? That's guaranteed to lose.
But these people are mad
so
at
I have
the
a
Jets.
hangover. Yeah.
These people are mad at the Jets. You go, wait a minute. If you're mad at the Jets, then the game was fixed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
Like they're getting
yeah.
mad at the players on the team, and you go, you're not supposed to know the players on the team.
So I can't go back to my bookie and go, that wasn't fair.
Right.
I put all that money on, and the Denver was supposed to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what they're trying
But
to do.
this is also like a top of the ticket down ballot difference issue here. I mean, a lot of these people are still going to give down ballot to the races. I mean, we know that.
That's a
state,
technical term,
local
down ballot. You're talking about all the senators and Congress people.
Yeah, we did take back seats. It's not like we didn't gain control.
Not as many as you wanted, Jessica.
No, of course not. But I think that people, they want to know, if you're someone who gives money or cares about these things, you want to know that your local representative is of the party that you are. So they're going to be giving, I think, to, more local causes than giving to the top. Because I don't think we know how elections are going to look in 2020. We just have no idea if this Trump effect is going to continue. Are we going to revert back to how it was before? But I think that people will continue to give locally.
Sounds like a real sales pitch
Good.
to me, Nick. What do you think?
I don't know. I think donating anything is for suckers. Across the board, yeah. I would never donate to
It's
anything.
a good tax write-off, though.
Yeah, but you can buy things, and that's a tax write-off.
But
you deduct it as a business expense.
obviously, it would be dumb for you, right? Because your money, it'd be gone.
Well, I
But
don't have any money.
But if you were a rich man of industry and you had like the Koch brothers, I mean, they give money, and when they get the politicians in that they want, it ends up actually making them billions. Isn't that right? So it is worth it to them.
I don't know. I have no idea. Sure. Maybe that's how it works. I'm trying to buy lunch tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It works. So I mean, they're the ones that have to, they have to look at this new system. The money is not
Well, the
working
Koch
for them,
brothers
Jessica.
aren't too worried right now, I think.
Yeah, they're doing fine either way.
It's
Okay.
more the liberal Kochs.
Moving on. Hot topic. I was working at my desk eating a sandwich today, and this video caught my eye.
J'aime bien manger à table avec toute ma famille.
I've been hearing about this for years, but I don't want to spend 2.5 hours a day sitting at my table eating. My total meal time per day is probably a half an hour, and that's also while doing other things. Maybe that's how I became a productivity machine. And that's great, because I live in the modern world. People used to spend all day farming, hunting, and preparing their food, and then with what little time was left in the day, eating and going to sleep. But then a little thing called civilization happened, and we didn't have to do that anymore. So enough with your joie de vivre, Frenchies. I'll have a slice and get back to work. Gavin, do you agree with my assessment here?
No, I think one of the worst parts about your job is that you don't get to have food with your kids. You don't have to have dinner with your kids. That's a travesty.
You think that it is important to have dinner with your family?
Yes, and I'm not faulting you for that, by the way. You got a great job, but that's one of the bummers about it is you can't get to do one of the most important things that a dad can do, and we talked about this in the other show, is have dinner with your kids. Sit there with the family. It stops kids from being drug addicts.
Well, I would like to be able to be home
Right.
at dinner time, but I don't necessarily think there's anything magical about the eating experience.
It's the conversation.
Look, it's conversation. It grounds the teens. It's not like they're going to go do anything intelligent afterwards. We go and watch TV after. We go and look at our screens. I think if there's one thing we should envy about the French, it's that they seem to have this having 2.5 hours with their whole family thing figured out. And I don't get it, by the way. Why are they so rich? They're all wimps. They're not particularly smart. They only work 4 days a week. The word bureaucracy comes from bureau. How is it nuclear power? Where are they getting all their money from?
I don't know. Nick, you're agreeing with Gavin.
Well, yeah, I just think it's time for America to go back to hating France. They had a good year.
I want to be clear that I do hate France.
Charlie. Yeah, France is terrible. Where are they getting this attitude that we are better at eating than you? That's what you got? Is you're better at snacking? Great job. Which they do, by the way. I think the iconic French character is a guy who can't bike anywhere without a giant piece of bread in the front of his bike.
They do love their French bread, don't
pause, France.
Yes.
Take a big pause.
Take a big pause. I think that, Jessica, look, I do. I like to spend 2 hours eating a meal once every 2 weeks. I don't want to do it every day. Like, I think
it's across the whole day that it takes that much time. It's not a 2.5-hour dinner every day.
But it's a 90-minute dinner then, or a 90-minute lunch. They're doing something. One of the meals is going on for too long.
Yeah, they're talking to their family and they're eating food that they prepared. Cooking is very therapeutic and nice. I wish that I could cook.
Everyone in France, they also wear a diaper during their meals, and they just soil themselves.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's true. It's 100% true.
They didn't put that in the stats.
Yeah. If they're not sitting at a toilet seat dining room table.
Yeah.
Which most dining room tables.
Yeah.
Which most
Which is what you have at your home.
Every room in a French house has a toilet in it.
It does.
Yeah.
One per room?
That's important.
Every single room, yeah.
Jim, you're a comic. You're on the road.
Yes, and I eat by myself a lot, and I have no problem with it. I'll peek out at maybe an hour if I'm out to dinner. I want to get out of there.
With other people?
Yeah, with other people. Give me an hour. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, or special occasions. Liz, after a Friday night show, you might go out for a late night meal. I love doing that. But it's the idea that we should be spending hours per day eating. I think that's what makes America great. Is the short.
I agree with that.
It's
yeah,
how much we eat
if
in
it's
our
not
cars.
a family meal, then just cram it in your mouth and move along.
Yeah,
I think that's fair
and
if
move
you're
on.
eating and going. But I would like to say also, when I sent in my talking points,
Yes.
I wrote that I bet Gavin agrees with how stupid it is that the French spend this much time and this is like globalism at its worst.
Yes.
And that he'd be for the American way. So I would like to apologize to you that
You don't have to apologize to me for your thoughts. Why did you tell me? That tree fell in the woods. It didn't make a sound.
No, I think.
Now I know.
Well, it's not
Now
that.
I'm mad.
And
now I'm mad that you had that thought.
But I like you so much better now that I know that you want to sit around and have a long
I didn't
dinner
know
with
you were
your
having
kids.
bad thoughts all
No,
day.
it's not. I thought you were having like isolationist thoughts, which you do have.
Oh, I sure do. Yeah.
Right.
No, I want to take that from France and then build a wall.
That's how we unite America, is with Francophobia. I think that's how we bring everybody together.
Is what, hating France?
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna
I have
work.
nothing against the French.
Oh, come on. They wear scarves all year.
I like them, but I just don't want to have 3-hour dinners. Okay, coming up. Can a poet get you to put down your phone? No? Well, what if I told you he writes socially minded poems and then turns them into videos? Still no. Young people are addicted to their phones. It's the only way they can stay in touch with their grandparents. But is looking down at a screen time well spent? An intriguing new video tackles our obsession with Snapchatting, tweeting, and swiping right. It was made by tech entrepreneur Max Stossel, who's known for writing socially minded poems, my favorite kind, and turning them into short videos. The video is called This Panda is Dancing, a very misleading title, sadly.
Architects of our digital world, stop. Be better, because we can be. And we can see that these systems have been designed with intricacy so that companies can keep our attention indefinitely. I don't want to keep crushing these freaking candies. I don't want these alerts to completely command me. I don't care if that panda bear is dancing. Well, maybe. With a hula hoop. Okay, this is fantastic.
Gavin, I wish I had your expression while you were watching that video. These are very popular, these videos. They get millions of views. Put down your phones and live your life. Should this guy be lecturing to us about this?
No, he's right that
He
we
is.
are totally addicted to screens, and it's a huge epidemic. And I don't know, I'm addicted to them too. I don't know what to do about it. And besides having some sort of lead shell around the house that prevents any internet coming in. But is there anything worse than poetry?
Nothing. No.
It's for failed rappers, failed comedians, failed stand-ups, failed everythings. I mean, my son could be gay. I'd be bummed out for maybe 8 seconds. You know, if he got into crime, I might go, "Oh, what's the matter with you?" But poetry, I would say, "Goodbye, son." There's the door.
Well, I mean, I guess
I would just like say, podcasting is for failed comedians.
it is.
My podcast is Comedy Metal Midgets.
Yeah.
Every
is.
Monday.
And
I'm
you're-
not allowed to say the name.
You
of
can't
my
say
own
your
show,
title.
so.
I wish we could, but they'll
Why?
find
Because
it.
it's too dirty?
Yeah.
It's a, it's a subject that we won't want to talk about on this.
Oh my God.
But
I'll
it's
Google
gonna. They're gonna search for him and find it anyway.
Yeah, okay.
Nick, but what do you think of this guy's video? Do you agree with him?
Does it cut off there? Because I was ready to hate it, but then at the end it looked like it might have been satire that he's making fun of poems.
No, he was not. It gets even more poemy as the video goes along. He's trying to tell people that we're too obsessed with texting, and in the end, he's high-fiving everyone because we have to connect to each other in the flesh.
Yeah. I think that that's right. I mean,
We
I
all
don't
know
think the
that, by the
video
way.
is sensational, but
I remember my life was terrible before I had access to the internet all the time. I would get so bored and angry, and I mean, what do you do when you have nothing to occupy yourself? I used to throw knives at the wall in my apartment. And I mean, I know it's like, it sounds like I'm doing a funny bit, but I really did. Me and my roommate, we started throwing knives at the wall one day while we were drinking, and that was like maybe 2 years before I had a smartphone.
And then it all changed.
Yeah, and we lost the security deposit. And if I had an iPhone, I would have been playing Candy Crush.
So you didn't, back in those days, you didn't go out into the world and make friends.
Nah, I stayed home drinking.
Are we too attached to our phones?
No, I don't think so. You get a lot of business done, Gavin. You got a million things going on. You can
Yes,
do business from
sure,
your phone.
but we go too far with it.
No, look,
Yeah.
I used to be carrying around a big computer or a laptop when I'm on the road. Now I got everything on my phone.
yeah, but you're not walking down the street. The amount of times that I almost get hit by a car daily because I'm on my phone is astronomical. There's a guy who lives in my neighborhood who's seen me do this. He's always like, "Hey, it's happening again to me." And I'm like, and I always finish the text. It doesn't even matter that, because I think the car is gonna stop for me. We spend way too much time on our phones, and also, which I don't know, I didn't watch the entire video.
You didn't.
No, I didn't, but because I knew what it was about. And they go into these dating apps, which is so interesting because people spend all this time in these dating apps, and there's that, that movement that's trying
Yes.
to reconfigure dating apps so you can't just swipe on people, that
Right.
you actually have to write to them and connect to them. But then people go on dates and they are on their phones the whole time.
Yeah.
They're not even paying attention. I'm like, you can't have sex with your phone.
No, you
Like,
can't.
so you should pay attention
Not
to the
yet.
person.
Looks like, yeah.
Not yet.
Nick kind of perked up there.
I
I think
don't
he has
know.
some ideas. It might be a startup.
I tried one of those VR headsets recently, and
What's that?
I guess you can
Oh,
say
We gotta go.
reality.
the PlayStation.
We got to go. I'll
Yeah.
let you fill her in during the break. Coming up, halftime.
What do you mean by that?
With Andy Levy. With Andy Levy. And a brand new episode of the Red Eye Podcast is available now. Subscribe on iTunes and on FoxNewsRadio.com. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Time to find out what we got wrong and what we missed from TV's Andy Levy over in the Red Eye News Deck. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good.
Excellent. Buckyballs are legal again.
They're legal.
Yeah. Jessica, like you, I had also never heard of these things.
I can't believe you guys.
I thought Buckyballs was either a reference to Buckminster Fuller or something from like Captain America / fiction.
The second part of that I understood. The first whatever. I don't know what
really?
that is either.
Oh, okay.
No,
All right.
but
Then
thanks.
then I will let it go.
Thanks for giving me the first,
It sounds like a
interrogation.
miscreant from the 30s, like a real bad
Buckminster
kid.
Fuller? He invented the geodesic dome,
The Epcot Center.
all that stuff? Yeah. There's an element named after him?
Oh,
Anyway, Jim, you said your lawyer friend told you the red lozenges cover up drunk driving.
Yes.
Just curious, where did he go to law school?
Trump University.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I was down by Philly somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I used to meet him down there. We go to a strip club afterwards. He wasn't really studying, so.
Right. Okay. Gavin, you said so much of government planning and the liberal ethos is based on these tiny chances of something bad happening. And then Jessica's response to that was, but if we can take away that tiny chance, But can you say that? You could say that for literally anything in the world.
Yeah, like let's make mandatory teeth brushing. If you don't brush your teeth, you get an electric shock.
Yeah.
And we will wipe out gingivitis and all plaque. And if we can just save one life, let's have everyone be free to die. How about that?
Jessica, agree?
Yes, I mean, generally, I think that's important, but I still think that we should protect our kids.
We're living in a nation now where people wear bicycle helmets. Grown men. Obama wore a bicycle helmet.
Not to use your children again, and you live in the suburbs.
Oh, don't use my children again. That's it. You're cut off. No more children analogies, okay?
Fine. Right,
There's
your kids wear
420
helmets.
million Americans. You have to keep finding my children and gramming them into every analogy.
Nick, you seem skeptical that Tom has been following this legal battle for years.
Yeah.
You have no idea how weird he is.
I learned something.
Yeah. Jim, you said if a kid swallows 3 magnets in a row, he's got a problem. Maybe they taste good, though. Do you know?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I mean, if you're going to do, usually it's like when you're doing a shot in the bar and you don't like it. You don't just go, yeah, give me 2 more and just throw down 3 in a row.
I don't know. I've done that.
Really? Yeah. So if I hand you a shot that says, oh, it tastes like vanilla cake, you're going to drink it?
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
What if it's got magnets in it?
Oh, absolutely. If it's a magnet
That's
cake
how
shot?
it happens.
Yeah,
Because you're getting
absolutely.
drunk off magnets.
Exactly. Democratic donors are tired and upset. Jessica, you said Lily von Stupp is going to be the next, the new DNC chair.
I just hope over Keith Ellison.
Well, she can't be any worse than what you've got now.
Thank you for mentioning that.
I don't mean Keith Ellison. I mean
Donna Brazile,
and
sort of.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And
Yeah.
all those
No,
awful
listen,
people.
we have some work to do.
Yeah.
That's what I think we're supposed to say. Dems have got some work to do.
Yep.
Okay.
Gavin, you said, isn't this proof that you can buy influence and that the White House is for sale? I mean, I do agree that you can buy influence and the White House is for sale. I don't know that I agree with it in this case. They could just be mad because they spent all that money because they wanted her to win.
Yeah, but the tone seems to be not, I'm sick of betting at the horse races. It's, I'm sick of this particular horse. I'm not betting on this horse anymore because it ripped me off. And you'll notice in the political cartoons, this is a common theme, and it has people lining up to get their money back. And you'll see a lot of Saudis, you know, sheiks in the line. And you realize that I think America has finally learned that everything was for sale before.
Yeah. I feel bad for all those foreign governments that gave all that money to the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah.
Well, they're not anymore, boy. They're what, they went down like 70%?
Well, they're just doing business with Donald Trump now. I mean, this is just going to be the new version of it.
I prefer business to buying favors. Let's
It's all
do
buying
deals.
favors. All right, let's make a deal.
Jim, you talked about how annoying the political ads are, like when you see them during football, et cetera. Imagine, though, like we live in New York where there weren't a ton of presidential ads because everyone knew Hillary was going to win the state. Imagine living in a swing state when it's like 24/7, wall-to-wall political ads.
Yeah, it's and they're really into their football, whether it's college or pro. Yeah. So, you know, their team's down 21-0, and then you have to see a bunch of sad kids almost crying because something that Trump said on a bus 11 years ago. Yeah. They don't care.
It was so offensive,
They're gonna vote for Trump just because Hillary put that on, just to bum them out.
Yeah.
They're already bummed out that the team's down 3 touchdowns.
Yep. I agree. Nick, you said donating anything is for suckers. Does that include bodily fluids?
No. Because you're selling them. That's not. They pay you for that.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it depends. I don't think they don't pay you for blood, do they?
That relates to the
they pay
name
you
of
for
his
blood.
podcast.
Yeah, no.
See how I got that in?
Yeah, thank you.
You're
It's good
welcome.
branding.
And let's leave it there.
Okay. Well, I can explain you get paid, I think, $50 up front for blood donations and $20 every time you go back.
Oh, all right. Obviously, I've never donated blood.
Well, you're a bad person.
Well, selling. I mean, there's donation, Andy, and then there's the selling. They have the two.
True. Yeah.
No one sells. I guess
Well,
people
you can
sell
sell it.
blood.
Yeah.
You
just
got
said he
plasma
sells it.
centers. Yeah, I don't do it, but I know you can.
Really?
Yeah.
And like for legit, for blood transfusions, and not like.
Yeah.
No, it's for horror movies, for special effects.
Yeah. French versus American eating habits. Gavin, I love eating alone. For me, that's like prime reading time or whatever. But I think you're absolutely right that it's important for people with kids to have family dinners. And I totally agree with you that Tom is a horrible dad.
I don't think he said that, Andy.
Well, no, it says he did.
Oh.
Nick, you said everyone in France wears a diaper while they eat and they just soil themselves. I could not find any evidence
No, it's
to
true.
back
It's
it up.
100%. For you, first of all, you have to give me time to go to Wikipedia and click log in before you go fact
I'm not
check.
saying it's not true. I'm just saying I couldn't find any evidence to back it up.
Well, take my word for it.
All right, I will.
Thanks.
That Panda is Dancing video, which was easily the worst Black Mirror episode I've ever seen. Nick, after we played a brief clip from the video and you said, oh, did it cut off there? Because it seemed like it might be satire.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the whole 3-minute video to prep for the show, man.
Hey, you're welcome,
Really,
man.
really.
I was doing satire just now when I said that.
Oh.
I actually watched it. I was doing a character that like doesn't prepare for the show.
I didn't get that. 'Cause I
Dresses like a homeless person and, you know, sort of half.
He was getting money for his blood.
We have to go.
All right, Andy. Thank you. Coming up, my great interview with the great Robert Wagner. Stick around. When you've been one of Hollywood's leading men for over 60 years, you get to know a few people. Now in his new book, I Loved Her in the Movies, Memories of Hollywood's Legendary Actresses, Robert Wagner, a legend himself, shares his experiences with some of the great screen personalities of all time. Robert Wagner joins me now. Robert.
Thank you.
Fantastic. You know, of course, I grew up with Heart to Heart. Right? And then I started watching all the classic films. It wasn't until college that I started getting into all these old movies. You worked with so many actresses. I want to just kind of go through some of them, all right?
Sure.
I'll just kind of name off the actors and you can give me some memories of them. Bette Davis.
A memory of Bette Davis.
Yes.
Very definite.
Yeah.
She was very definite.
She knew what she wanted.
Exactly.
Now, a lot of these actresses, you said in the book, you started off, you know, going to the movies and watching these starlets.
Yeah.
Were there any screen legends that you watched and then you were able to work with them?
Well, Betty was one of them.
Betty was one. So you watched her in the movies and then you worked with her.
You know, one of the big things is to try to forget who she is.
Yeah.
You know, because I was sitting in the theater and then when I met her, my jaw dropped. You know, I was just like every fan in the world.
How long was it before you kind of settled in? I mean, how did you get in? You were a contract player, right? Did somebody discover you at a soda shop or something?
No, I was working, you know, taking lessons, and an agent recommended me to 20th Century Fox. There was a wonderful coach there called Helena Sorrell, and I started working with her. I didn't know anything about acting at all. I was so green you can't believe it. You know, I was working as an extra for a while.
Yeah.
But the idea for all of us at that time, all of the young actors, was to get under contract to a studio to be one of the contract players. MGM had a contract list of many young actors, as did Columbia and Warner Brothers.
Yep.
And, you know, MGM had a big contract list, and if you were under contract to a studio, that was a good start. And that was a great start for me because I didn't know anything. You know, they took me in and.
But you were so good looking, like you were just such a handsome leading man. What else could you do besides be a movie star? When you were an extra, did people look at get that guy out of here, he's distracting me?
I don't know. I wish they had. I was trying to get up in front all the time. And you know, when you get established as an extra, you're out. You know, you want to stay in the background, then you get called back all the time.
Yeah.
If they once establish you and they know who you are, you can't be in the movie anymore.
Yeah.
You understand?
I do. It's fantastic. Look, Joan Crawford. Let's bring that picture up there. Now look at that. I mean, look at that face.
Yeah.
How was she to work with? You know, we hear a lot about Joan Crawford.
I never worked with Joan Crawford.
Oh, you never did?
I never worked with her. I knew her.
Yes.
And had met her, and when I met her, my jaw did drop because you know she was one of the biggest stars of all times. I never worked with her. I worked with Betty.
And Katharine Hepburn?
Katharine Hepburn I never worked with, but I met her through Spencer Tracy.
That's right. Spencer Tracy kind of took you under his wing, didn't he? You played his son?
Yes, I did. I played his son in Broken Lance, and then I played his brother in The Mountain.
Yeah.
It was.
You went from son to brother.
Yeah, he was really wonderful to me. You know, he changed my whole career around. Truly.
He did.
Yeah.
So he was a mentor. He brought you into the big time.
Absolutely, and he not only brought me into the big time, Tom, but he gave me billing above the title with him. So it took me out of all of the young guys that were working then, and all of these guys were great looking, and we were all playing soldiers and doing all that stuff. But he lifted me out of that pool and made me a special person.
He kind of made you a star.
He did.
Let's go some of them through these. Barbara Stanwyck.
Barbara Stanwyck.
That anklet. I always think of that anklet.
Yes.
In Double Indemnity.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't she wonderful in that picture?
Unbelievable. Did you work with Barbara Stanwyck?
I did. I worked with her in a picture called Titanic. And she was just absolutely
You were the original. You were the original Leo.
Yeah.
Top of the world. Elizabeth Taylor. I have a picture of you with Elizabeth Taylor. I think this is a more modern. When was that? In the 70s, or?
Yeah, that's in the 70s. I produced a picture with her, and we did it together. And she was so wonderful. I knew her when I was a kid. I met her when I was about 14 years old. And then she was so fabulous. She was a wonderful lady.
Were you a child? Did you act when you were 14 or no?
No. I just wanted to be in the movies. Just wanted to be in the movies. But I didn't start when I was a kid. I think I was kind of lucky I didn't, because it gave me a life of a young man and not being, sort of separated out.
Well, it's hard to get over that hump. A lot of child stars, they weren't able to make the transition, right?
That's true. My late wife, Natalie Wood, was able to do that, and it's a remarkable story. And she went from a child actress at 5 years old to a ingenue, to a young leading lady, and then to a leading woman. And she made some really great movies.
Yes. And when did you meet Natalie?
I met Natalie when she was about 18, 17.
Was it on a picture?
No, I met her at a cocktail party, and I just thought she was great, and we started going together, and then we got married. We got married shortly after that when she was 18 years old.
And what happened when you started dating her? Did they try to put you together as, the studios used to try to market these romances, right?
No, not that one. They didn't with me with Natalie, but they tried to market me with a few other ones, and with her too. That was the... we'd go out on dates. I would go out with Rita Moreno, for instance.
Yes.
Who was such a wonderful lady. And, they'd take pictures of us in a restaurant, and it would be a, romance and all that. Then we'd go home, and go to the studio the next day and go to work.
And then, we're running out of time here. I wanted to get up to Heart to Heart when, that's my first introduction to you. But here's a picture of you with Stephanie Powers.
Stephanie, yeah.
There is so much in the book. It's fantastic. I hope everyone reads it. I loved her in the movies. Robert Wagner. Look at my bookmarks here. I only got to like half of them. Thank you, Robert Wagner.
Thanks so much, Tom.
Thank you. All right. We'll be right back with more Red Eye. Coming up on the next Red Eye, Aruba Ray Allen, Kennedy, Greg Johnson, and Ambassador John Bolton. Is Dad dead? A writer for the Daily Beast reports that hipster dads don't want to be called dads. Instead, they want to be called Papa. For many, the trend, similar to hipster moms wanting to be called Mama, is about being hip and cool and the complete opposite of their lame old man. One Brooklyn Papa says, I just think Dad and Mom are very saved by the Bellish. For the record, Papa is in no way saved by the Bellish. It's Berenstain Bearish. A self-described feminist Papa Bear says, Dad is very bland and drab. There's no excitement to it. Totally, man. And a fatherhood expert who goes by Mr. Dad adds, Papa is a little hipper, a little more familiar and friendlier than Dad. I have to admit, he has a point. Yeah, Papa John, right?
Yeah.
Gavin, is this, first of all, do you think this is a real trend?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think let's not conflate this with super annoying trends like old ladies don't want to be called grandmother because it makes them feel old, so they make up names like Zuby.
Oh, yeah.
And then my buddy makes his kids call her Grand Zuby just to torture her.
Grand Zuby?
Yeah.
Sounds
kind of racist, doesn't it? He was the Grand Zuby of the clan for many years. But you got to remember here, with this thing, our generation, Generation X, didn't have kids at all. And I blame divorce. So I think these dads that they don't want to be associated with, were lame. Like, we had cool dads who stuck around. But a good 60% of Generation X had terrible dads who gave up on them and went and bought a car and got a new girlfriend. So I kind of get that they don't want to be associated with boomer dads, because boomer dads were the worst.
I see.
My
Okay.
boomer dad is awesome.
Well, look.
That's anecdotal.
Jessica, Papa, good name.
And you talked about your kids.
Look, is it a good name? Does it work, Papa?
Oh, I think it's awful. I really don't like it. I don't like Mama or Papa. It makes me think of grandparents more than your parents who become, obviously they parent you, but then they also become your like cool best friends who also gave you life.
Yeah.
So I'm a mommy and daddy person.
Mommy and daddy.
Still in my phone, mommy and daddy calling. That's
Jim,
for life.
What'd you call your dad?
A lot of things. No, I call him Dad, and my son calls me Dad and Daddy and stuff like that. And you know, look, it's a hipster thing that they're trying to. The thing is, once if it goes to the suburbs, if it gets out there where everyone starts saying Papa, then they're going to change it because then it's out in the suburbs. So then they're going to be like, oh, no, call me Dude.
Right.
So whatever, they're trying to bring back cassettes, hipsters. Who the hell's going to listen to?
Who the hell's going to listen? Okay, we got to go, Nick. Sorry, we're leaving. Bye, everybody.
All right.
Just, you know,
I had such a
just wave.